Are you looking for ways to put back the fire in your marriage? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back and we'll continue this conversation. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and actually, it's evening.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
evening.
it's
Yeah.
7 p.m. where we are, Mountain Time. And welcome once again to another Family Talk Live with the Dookies. And if you're watching in the morning, good morning. If you're watching in the evening, good evening. If you're watching in the night, good night. Let us know if you're joining us live and where you're joining from. And if you're joining us for the replay, also let us know where you joined us from. We're so happy to have you here. And this evening, I think we have a very good lineup of thoughts and tips to share with you. And so we're looking forward to delve into that for sure.
It's one of those things sometimes we were talking earlier that sometimes we just need to hear some things.
Yeah.
To be reminded of some things.
Yes.
That we need to keep doing.
Yes.
And they're not big things.
Yeah.
They are, but they're not small things either, because we can't say they're small.
Right.
Because if you practice these things, it can strongly enhance your relationship. It can, it takes us back. So when you practice these things, it takes us back to the inception, the beginning of relationships. Because any one of us, if we go back to the beginning of our relationship, we can see that, man, those were, people refer to them as the good old days.
The good old days. The good old days.
We don't need to lose the good old days.
Yeah.
It's how do we maintain those good old days in the present.
Yes.
And I think that's important for us to talk about. And sometimes it's important, oftentimes I think it's important to find ways just to empower the relationship, to make sure that husbands are putting wives first and wives are putting husbands first.
So there you go. Crucial. There you go, guys. I hope we'll whet your taste bud a little bit. And that's what we're focusing on this evening. For those who are joining us for the first time, welcome. And just to introduce ourselves, I am Dr. Sanya Dookie.
And I'm Courtney Dookie.
And we are psychotherapists and psychologists, and also your Christian marriage and parenting coaches. And we're dedicated to supporting you restore your marriage, your relationship, transform your parenting God's way, and also realign your family according to the way or the path of God. And so today we are talking marriage. Yes. So grab your spouse, grab your husband or your wife and say, hey, honey, come listen to this. Just sit in quietness and listen, okay? And if you do have a question, of course, we want to hear from you. Or if you do have a comment, of course, we want to hear from you. So the first question we have for you is, what do you do to ignite that passion in your relationship? We're going to share 4 with you, and 4 that we know helps us as a couple. As maybe you guys know, we've been married for over
12 years.
12 years now. And
that was a math test.
I was testing, guys. But yeah, so we've been married for 12 years now. And so we're going to share with you what works for us. But not only that, we have supported so many couples throughout our times, working in our private practice and supporting different individuals. And then these are elements we've identified that are not there. And that is the reason why marriages eventually start to suffer. And the
And notice that the busyness of life gets in the way of these things.
Yes.
We get so busy that we forget to do these things. I see Amy saying hello. So
Hello,
hello, Amy.
Amy.
It's good to have you. Again, if you guys have questions, please ask questions and we're willing to answer them, or other topics you want us to
Yeah.
talk about. We're also willing to do that. But yeah, going back to what I was saying earlier, sometimes our relationship gets dry
Mm-hmm.
because we're so busy.
Yes.
And the reality is that our marriages don't need to go dry.
No.
You know, sometimes I talk to older couples. And when I say older couples, I'm talking about couples who are married for over 25 years or even 30 years or 40 years. And you ask them, what is it that you guys do to keep this going? And when they mention, these are simple things they talk about. It's not big things. It's basically showing appreciation for each other, or saying thank you, or just simple things they will mention that they keep doing, that they keep those things going. And those are the things they say give strength to their relationship. And we're going to look at 4 things today.
Yes.
That if we practice these 4 things, they can help to maintain or to fuel strength in the relationship. So I'm curious, for those who are watching, it'd be interesting to find out, what are some things you do to maintain the fire, to maintain the connection in your relationship. I'd be curious to see what you've done. Someone said, Amy said, we go on scenic drives. We talk and jam out to music. That's powerful. Those are ways those are really good ways.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be expensive.
That's a key thing too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, sometimes we feel we haven't been able to go on our second honeymoon, or go on the first honeymoon, or to travel to Mexico or the Caribbean, and so our love, doesn't have any vibe to it. But it's not those things that make the relationship and the passion stay alive. It's the small things that we do on a day-to-day basis. So what's the first one, Dr.
Well, the first one to think about is each day.
Yeah.
Every single day. And this is, get your pen and paper. At least once per day, say something positive or uplifting to your spouse. At least once a day.
Yes.
Say something, even when you don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
Say something positive and uplifting to your spouse. No, like the wise man Solomon says in Proverbs 15 and verse 4, a gentle answers. Oh, I like this version though. The version says a gentle answers is like water, nourishment to a plant. I think that's the Message version said like that a gentle word is like nourishment into a plant.
The person, yeah.
And each day, if we find ways to give a gentle word, a gentle thought, something, say something positive and uplifting, it's like nourishment to a plant. And in Psalm chapter 1, it talks about a plant that is planted by the river and getting that nourishment. Imagine we are being deliberate about giving nourishment to our spouses.
Yes.
Husbands are deliberate in giving nourishment.
Yes.
Wives are deliberate about giving nourishment through words.
Yes. Yeah.
How much does it cost to produce words?
And like, I think we need to kind of differentiate it, because sometimes we say, but you can depend on me as being the only one to tell you the truth, right? Like, I will tell you the truth. Yes, we want you to tell the truth, but how is it done? Right? Is it done in a way where it's so raw and untactful, and it just chips at the other person emotionally and psychologically?
Yes.
Right? So how can we help up the other person and share positive criticism where it uplifts them? It empowers them instead of pulling them down.
And the thing about even talking about truth, Sanya, is this. We tend to want to share truth when it is something that we disagree with. Most times, think about it.
That was heavy.
We want to share truth when it's something we disagree with.
Yeah.
What about sharing some truth
that
are good?
Yes.
some truth about the person that is excellent, that you know, that is good, some truth that empowers a person. You're beautiful, you're kind, you're affectionate, you're compassionate, you're respectful, you're kind, you're genuine.
Yeah.
What about looking at your partner and find some truth, your spouse, and find some truth that are uplifting? We oftentimes come with some truth that, you know what, you know, I'm going to tell you the truth because as a friend, as a spouse, this is what I should do.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. But oftentimes we need to balance.
Yeah.
We're so focused on negative interactions that we fail to pay attention to positive interactions.
Yes, yes. And I'm just remembering the time when you kind of like put me back in line with that
I don't remember
guy.
this one.
He doesn't remember, but I remember, and I will always remember. I think we're just coming out of a tough season, and I somehow have adopted negativity and wasn't sharing positivity in our relationship. And when I do talk, I would talk of the disdain aspect of our relationship. And I think one day, you know, we were talking about something. I think I don't remember what we were talking about. And I said it in a very cynical way towards my husband, and it was criticism. And I didn't know. I did not know, because at the time it became normal. So I didn't know anymore. And then my husband, on his face, he looked defeated. He looked defeated. And I didn't even recognize that until after, when I got to work, he sent me a text and he said, um, I feel like I'm trying very hard, but I'm being pushed down no matter what.
I don't remember that. So
I remember. I remember. Guys, oh, even though mentioning it, I did not know I was doing that. I felt like I was being truthful. And that's why I tell you, you know, some of the time when we talk here, we're also sharing things that work for us, that in our relationship. And from that day on, I decided, you know what? I am going to always be the source of encouragement to my husband. I am going to always uplift him, push him, and let him know that I'm carrying him in my prayers and I'm encouraging him. And you never know when somebody's struggling in silence. You never know. And so take this as an encouragement today, um, that we won't allow the same thing to happen. So I'm checking our video here, and I realized that we're frozen, guys. So
no idea what's that.
Amy here is saying, been there, Sonia. I've seen that beat and look. Yeah, like ladies, we gotta be Okay, we are back, but only our audio. Are you guys still with us? We're so sorry. We can't see ourselves. So I'm assuming you guys can't see us either. I think we're going to excuse ourselves out of this broadcast and come back. Don't leave. We'll be right back with you, okay?
Seems like we are back. We have no idea what just happened. If you can let us know that you're hearing us, and if you can just let me know, are you hearing us? Are we back there?
Yeah. Not sure what went on there just now.
Everything just went down.
So let us know if you're still with us and you can awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll just continue. So that was a story. That was a story that I had to share. And my husband, he doesn't remember, but these are the things that I take notes. That's with me. I will take notes of things that he mentions, and I use that as things that I need to look into at myself as a wife and to change. He'll not sit down and say, "Hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need." He that's not him. And so that's probably he's probably lucky he has a wife like me who likes to take notes. Say, okay, what areas do I hear him saying, and then what areas can I improve in? So take notes, guys. Wives, listen to your husbands. Listen to where they say that they're sad. They may not directly say you're doing this. They will indirectly share, oh, I feel as if I am failing as a husband. And then we got to ask the question, okay, why are they feeling that way? Is there something that I need to start doing or encouraging him, things like those. It really helps. It really helps to put so much into the relationship. So what's the second one that we
The
have?
second one is, so number one, we says what? Find at least one thing per day, minimum of one thing per day to uplift and strengthen and to be positive in the relationship. Number two is always greet affectionately.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, yes, we are busy, but if we go to work and we do different things and we reconnect, or even to wake up in the morning and different things like that, greet affectionately.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how Solomon put this. It's kind of a way in Songs of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 2. And he said this, kiss me and kiss me again, for your love is sweeter than wine.
Mm-hmm.
Kiss me and kiss me again, because your love is sweeter than wine. Here we're talking about a deep connection, a passionate reconnection. And if imagine that every single day before your spouse leave for work, or when they get back home from work, or sometime throughout those moments of reconnecting and greeting, you're greeting each other like that.
Yeah.
There's a consistent greeting of affection between both people. And if imagine you're fertilizing that. If you're stressed and you're out of it, it can bring a level of release.
Yes.
And relief, because you can hug someone, you can kiss them, you can show that affection, And we know that affection itself releases dopamine in the system, and dopamine can function to bring that pleasure center, oxytocin and bonding and connecting. So greet each other passionately. And that's what Solomon is saying. Kiss and kiss again. Keep it going. Guys, we get so busy sometimes. And notice what we're talking about here, the 1 and 2. How long does it take to say something uplifting and positive to your spouse? How long does it take to greet each other passionately? So if the first one, if we can take 2 minutes or less, 2 minutes once a day to say something positive and uplifting to your spouse, we can take say 5 minutes to be passionate with each other for a moment.
3 minutes.
Or 3 minutes. So that's 5 minutes already, right there. So and that's 2 things, and you can accomplish those 2 things in 5 minutes. How much does our relationship worth to us? That's just 5 minutes there, and we accomplish 2 things that can keep the relationship in a strong zone. So husbands and wives, this is what Solomon is saying.
So we haven't spent any money yet here.
No.
Didn't buy a bunch of roses yet.
No. I've cost nothing. It's just words and connection. And expressing that, right? And number 3 is one of the things with number 3 says, neglect the things of the world rather than your spouse. Neglect the things of the world rather than your spouse.
So practically, what does that look like? What are the things that can get in between a husband and his wife?
To answer that question, it normally goes back to a value system. Because there are certain things in life that we value. Work and hobbies and either relationships with our family member, children, or different relationships we have, right? Those are important things to us. And sometimes when our value system gets mixed up, certain things get in the way. And meaning work can get in the way. As good as work is, it can get in the way. The question is, what is more important? Is work more important than your spouse? Well, a lot of men will look at me and says, well, if I don't work, I can't take care of my spouse. But if I'm not taking care of my spouse, I won't have a spouse to work for. Right? Or if I don't take care of I need to work to take care of my family. My family says, spend time with me. And you're like, I need to work to take care of my family. The thing is that you can work and don't have a family to take care of.
At the end of the day.
So we have to figure out, who are we putting first? Who are we putting first? Are we putting our spouses first? Or we're putting the things, are we putting the things that we think we're supposed to do first? And that's why at this point, the point we're making here is we should neglect the things of the world, but not our spouses. It's if your spouse needs your attention, give that attention. We need to put our spouses first.
And as you mentioned earlier, we need to connect with our values and be very honest about that. Because I heard a talk some years ago by oh my gosh, that famous preacher there, TD Jakes. Oh my gosh. So he gave the analogy of when we are losing our way, there's something that we can do. So he gave the illustration of a stick shift or a standard vehicle. And he says that whenever you need to switch gears in a standard vehicle, you always have to go back to the neutral point. You always have to go back to the neutral point. And for us, that's like going back to our core values. What values do we have about relationship, our marriage, and our family life? And if there are things that come up related to work or your friends or different demands my family right now.
Mhm.
If you realize that you're going back to your core, which is a healthy family, family first, God first, and those things are going to affect that, then we already have our answer there,
Yes.
right? So I really love the fact that you brought up connect with your value,
Value system, yes.
connect with your value system. And if you allow family to be and God to be the center of your value system, then nothing else
Get in the way.
will get in the way. It's easy to say no to those other
The things.
things.
And one of the things, and we've talked many times about our coaching program. One of the things we do in that program, we help people
Yeah.
to really reconnect with their value.
Yeah.
Because what I've found in my work is that when we start to move away, deviate from our value system, that's when we start to misplace our priorities.
Yes. Yeah.
Once our value system is out of line, we're going to have misplaced priorities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, work is important,
Mhm.
hobbies are important, um, other family relationships are important, parenting
Yeah.
relationships are important. These are important things in our lives,
Mhm.
vital things in our lives. But we need to have a priority system in
Yes.
place, right? And notice when I say priority system, I'm not talking about quantity of
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
because there are two things that take most of our time: sleep and work.
Mhm.
Those are the two things that will take most of our time.
Yeah.
So we're looking at quality time. Quality.
Mhm.
How do we make the best? And in making quality time, that's where we sort of put our spouses first,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Put our spouses first. And the last one we want to talk about
Yes.
in today. So we've gone through what? Someone can list them there for us.
Mhm.
We've talked about say at least
I see
one.
Risha was helping us a little bit there. Thanks,
Yeah.
girl. She was helping us to listen. So the
Yeah.
first one is
Say one thing at least once a day. Say something positive and uplifting to your spouse. Number two, always greet affectionately. Number three, neglect the things of the world, but never neglect your spouse. Never move away from your spouse. Always put your spouse first.
Yeah.
And number four, not most important, but a vital one,
Mhm.
continue
Yeah.
courtship.
Courtship. I think this is a almost like a continuation of what we started to talk about last week. Last week we
Yes.
talked about how to up the temperature in a lukewarm marriage.
Marriage.
And one of the things we mentioned was that the things we used to do when we get into marriage, we realize, hey, I've reached.
Mhm.
Therefore, I don't need to do those things anymore. And today we're telling you, no, continue that courtship. Whatever you used to do to get that girl, the whatever you used to say to her, and the little small actions and behaviors you used to do that appease her, continue to do the same thing. Whatever you used to do for that guy, that make him feel, hey, you're my number one. You still need to do that even when you're 70 years old, guys. We still need to do that. And that is what keeps the passion alive. Alive.
I said if we're courting each other,
Yes.
we're always getting to know each other.
Mhm.
So what happened in courtship? You're always updating what we refer to as your love account.
Yeah. Yeah.
That love account, a love map, as the Gottman referred to it. You always get to know your spouse because you're courting them. You're learning about new things, shift in their lives, and you learn to adapt and adjust to those shifts
Mhm.
and to support them. So if we imagine if we are courting, we're always going to know the person, and we know that the number one thing that allows for long lasting relationship is friendship.
Yes.
And you cannot have friendship in marriages without courtship. You cannot have friendship in marriages without courtship.
Mhm.
Therefore, we always need to be in that courtship zone,
Mhm.
always doing the things that brought you together in the first place.
Mhm.
What were some things that attracts you to your spouse? What are some things that your spouse love? Now, for example, there's one thing I used to do that I don't do anymore. Maybe I should, and there's a reason I used to do it, but I've done
Let's
it.
hear.
I haven't done it in a long while. I used to. There was an exodus, a long journey. I used to walk to go visit my wife when we were dating. And it's a long journey up hills and through bushes and different things. It was a long journey.
It's not that bad.
And when I was walking, every time I'm walking to her place, I would get these leaves. I'm going through these bushes. As I said, I have to go over highways, through corners, through bushes, then up a hill, and before I get to
I
her
think
house.
that's an hour, right? It's just 15 minutes walk.
But I used to walk through these places and I get these leaves. And I use my nails and I carve different things in the leaves. It could be I love you or something I appreciate. And I just take them to her. I never know, but years later, I found a book that she had. And in the book were all these leaves.
And I didn't know you find a book with all my leaves. I didn't know that.
I found it with all these leaves. Like, oh, and then a couple of years later, again, this is after we were married and everything. She said, I miss those leaves that he used to carve for me. Like, wow, that's something I used to do. Simple, but
Yeah.
that she likes it.
Yeah.
And I've stopped doing it. Again, my excuse is that I'm not walking through a place where leaves are. I'm not walking through the mountains and the contours anymore. So I don't have access to leaves. But the point I'm making, we need to get back to doing the things that we used to do that gives energy, that gives vibes, that gives connection in the relationship. Go back to the courting state of connecting with our spouses.
Yes. So that's it, guys. You got a chance to hear a little bit of our own internal worlds, why we are who we are today, and why it is our passion to really help marriages, and to let you know that it is possible, even if you've had tough times and you feel you know both of you won't be able to make it anymore. With these things, there are different things that can be done to help revitalize that and reignite what you have. And as I've always said, God doesn't want to live in a marriage where we're unhappy, we're lonely, we're sad, we're mentally down, depressed. He does not want us to be doing that to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel that, right now, that's where I'm feeling that I'm at, I want to first of all give you hope that things can change. Both of you got to put your 100% in, got to step up and step up and step off the pride horse and say, you know what, let's just level with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Let's work on this stuff, because invulnerability is strength and connection. If you're holding off and not wanting to be vulnerable with that other person, we're gonna lose a big part of that connection that we could possibly have with that person. And so we're just encouraging you today that it is possible to have a healthy and a contented marriage. Yes, you're gonna have tough times, and we're gonna have fiery darts of the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're a team and you're like, we're at this together, you work together to work through these things, and that's how we become stronger. And before you know it, you have a marriage filled with adventure. You could talk about these things, you could laugh about them. You may change over time, different things may change, but at least you're continuing to create stories. And that's amazing. And when your children see that, they know, hey, mommy and daddy, nobody mess with them because they're two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it needs to be like. That's what your children need to see. So those are things that we wanted to share with you today, and we hope that it was encouraging.
Yeah.
We're sorry about the video in the middle there, but thanks for holding out with us towards the end of the session.
And before we go, there's one verse I want to share with you. Leave you with this verse. It's Romans 12:10. Romans 12:10 says, love each other with genuine affection.
Yes.
And take delight in honoring each other.
Mm-hmm.
Say that to you. Repeat that verse. Love, Romans 12 and verse 10. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. That is what God desires for our marriages.
Yes.
That's what God desires for our relationships. In that we love each other with genuine affection. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight. Underline that word. We could preach a sermon on relationship just on this verse. And take delight, not pride, not pain, but take delight in honoring each other. Let's take delight in honoring your husband,
Yes.
in honoring your wife. Let's take delight in doing this, in
Yes.
showing deep, genuine affection and showing that love and honoring our spouses.
Well, that's all we have to share with you today. Thanks, Risha, for summarizing and being with us. And guys, thanks so much. If you're watching the replay, let us know. And so we plan to be back here next Monday, same time, same place. And we hope to see you again as well. Please share these videos with others out there who you know would definitely benefit from these sessions. We thank you and we wish for you to have a wonderful and blessed week. Bye bye.